Hey, welcome, Inspired Tribe, to another Inspired live stream here on the Inspired channel. My name is Jean Nolan. It's my wonderful wife, Kristin Nolan.
Welcome, everyone.
The wise voice to the side, also the thumbs in the live chat, and so much that's going on behind the scenes, of course. And we just want to say thank you for tuning in today. It is Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. And Inspired Tribe. We are, and this is the mantra of the Inspired live stream, we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're free. Inspired Tribe. Healthy, wealthy, whole, and free. It's very, very important to us. And we're going to talk about one particular aspect of that today that usually triggers a lot of people. And quite frankly, just as a general statement, we're going to talk a little bit about what triggers really are and why it's none of anyone's business what triggers you. It's really just your business what triggers you. And we're going to touch on that, but really get it's a kind of sequel to what we talked about yesterday in live stream number, I think 236 was yesterday, where we talked about the freeing of the mind and how we really co-create the future. And this is a sequel to that because a lot of people ask us, how do we do this and how do we do that? And what are some of the steps that we need to take? And this is going to speak to that today. But let me welcome you. And I see quite a few people stayed away today because I already said they're going to be triggered. They didn't want to be triggered. I get that. So I see Lee is here, Lee Barnett, Caroline, welcome. Pia is here. Hey, Pia. Pia is tuning in from Austria. Wie geht's dir, Pia? Wo ist Österreich? Then we have Lisa, Darla, Saskia, James. Then we have Ileana. Nice to see you. It's been a minute. Then we have Angelo, Dimitri. Good to see you. Lorraine, Kathy, Michael, Ronnie, Sol, Linda, Jackie, Karin is tuning in from Vienna. Hey, Karin. Schöne Grüße nach Wien. Then we have Ingrid from Belgium. Then we have Margaret, Michael, Texa, Tina, and Sebastian. Sebastian from Portugal. Then we have Thomas, Andrew, Carmen. Welcome, Adriana. So good to see you. John, good to see you. Steve, Scott, Ellen, Faith, Marek, Jay, Chrissy. Oh my God. Thank you all for tuning in. It's so wonderful to see you. And thank you for the beautiful comments for yesterday's live stream. I want to say quickly something about triggers. What a trigger really is. And if you know this, it's so much easier to actually transform those things. What a trigger appears to be is someone says or does something, or you see something, and it causes a reaction inside of you where you get angry or you are frustrated or sad or mad or whatever. It's an emotional reaction. And we tend to say in our society today that the person who said whatever they said, even if it was an insult, or the movie or the program or the commercial, whatever it was, that is the cause, the source of the trigger. And it couldn't be further from the truth. That is simply that's an effect, something on the outside that truly triggered an emotional reaction, but the emotional reaction happens inside of you. Why does it happen? Because either a belief is challenged, or it reminds you subconsciously of a past negative experience, and so these emotions come up. Triggers are amazing opportunities to heal, right? I mean, we don't have any better way of healing than when we get triggered, because we can actually see, oh my God, this really does something to me. And maybe in following live streams, I'll address one of the triggers that we've been observing is the flag that we put here. This beautiful, beautiful flag appears to be a trigger for some people. We're going to address that, but not because it's our responsibility, but simply to paint a broader picture. But today, we want to talk about money. We want to talk about abundance, and we want to talk about financial freedom. And by that in itself is a huge trigger for many people. And we're going to peel the onion and share why this is so important. But really, what we need to establish first is that today's view of money is an inversion of the natural view of abundance, right? Today, what you're being really told is, and this is the program that runs, right? You're being told that in order for you to be, to have financial, not even freedom, but to be financially viable or be able to survive, you need to have a job, and you need to have job security, and you need to comply with whatever you're being told, so you can get your paycheck, so you can pay your bills. And basically, what it says that if you do not comply with these things, then you will not live in abundance or even be able to survive. And what that is an inversion of the natural realm. The natural realm is abundance. That's how this whole thing was created. Everything around us is really abundance. I mean, we've been taught in school and through the education system that, basically our ancestors, they were struggling immensely to just put food on the table, which logically speaking doesn't make any sense given the abundance of food sources, of plants, and of available foods almost everywhere. Especially going back to even 100, 200 years ago, before the industrialization of the world, before so much of the natural realm was destroyed or transformed. And basically, what we're being told is that today, with industrial agriculture, we now have this beautiful thing that food is being produced for us, and we don't have to starve and struggle anymore. I don't buy that story for one thing. Nature inherently is abundance, okay? So if nature is inherently abundance and we're part of abundance, then we must be in our most natural state abundant beings too. That's what the conclusion that we've come to. Now, in today's life, in societal life, and even if you're on on the outskirts of society, even if you're kind of living secluded, there's almost no way to live completely without money. We've tried. We have done that. We have kind of looked at, all sides of this perspective, and it is a very, very uncomfortable and very, very nerve-wracking experience if you live completely without money, simply because certain things are not yet established. We haven't reestablished them yet. That being said, if we truly want to create a period for ourselves, for our families, for ourselves, and for our communities, where we can actually transform this society and transform these systems into something that serves us rather than constantly enslaves us and puts us down, we have to create a period for ourselves where we can actually free our minds from the constant thought about, how do I produce income? How do I pay the bills? How do I put food on the table? How do I get money? And in order to do that, we need to reprogram our thinking and our belief system to abundance is my natural state. Abundance is my birthright. To live a life where I have access to everything I need and more, it's my birthright. These are all statements that took a while for me. I'm just talking about me personally, to become truths again. I wasn't brought up like that. Like most of us, I was brought up in the belief system that you need to work hard, that you need to sacrifice and struggle. Even though I grew up in an entrepreneur family, that at the same time, my dad would always tell me, you can achieve anything you want, but it was always tied to, unless you struggle kind of, and unless you work really hard, and unless you make sacrifices, you're not going to be able to do that. And we need to step away from that belief system, because it's truly just a belief system. How do I know? Well, as a matter of fact, I happen to believe, if you know one person that created and attracted, manifested abundance into their lives, that didn't do it through this process of struggle and hard work, then that's proof enough. But there are actually millions of people. It's not that these people don't take action or exchange their time or their actions for money. It's not that. It's that they have found a way to contribute to the whole, to do something fulfilling, to do something beautiful, and at the same time have financial abundance in their lives, which equals freedom in many ways. And I know people get triggered by that. Yes, in our society today, financial abundance is an aspect of freedom. Why? Well, because when you don't have access to any kind of financial abundance, then you are in a state of worry, and you're in a state, especially when you need to take care of others, right? Oh, thank you so much. And honey,
Mhm.
I'm butchering their name all the time.
I think her name is, I don't know, Jacinth. I don't know how you.
I'm so sorry. I'm butchering your name. Thank you so much for your contribution. I really, really appreciate it. Um, Financial abundance in our world, it isn't freedom, just freedom. There's more aspects to that. You need to have emotional slash spiritual freedom. You need to have physical freedom, uh, and you need to have financial freedom too. And that's something that triggers a lot of people. And really, what I want to tell you, everyone who's listening, I don't care what your situation is, I don't care what family you were born into, what country you're in, what the economy is like where you're at. um, None of that really matters. I want to tell you that you can be an abundant being and have financial freedom. What comes with financial freedom is a beautiful thing. It isn't about looking at your bank account and counting the money and being in love with that. It's just a means to an end. It's a tool. We need to look at this again as a tool. What can money do for you? What if you could buy a piece of land where you live on with your family and actually get independent, grow your own food, be independent from the outside sources? What if you could do that? Wouldn't that put you in a state of peace and in a state of freedom that would allow you to do what? To create a more wholesome vision for the future. A lot of people that would really love to see a different way of living for themselves and for their families and communities simply never get there because they're in the rat race, because they try to survive and they're frustrated because they need money, and they curse money and they say it's so bad, it sucks, and it's so hard to get money, and all the rich people are bad, and only when you're poor and struggling you have some chance of being actually virtuous or being actually spiritually enlightened, which it's a myth. It's a well constructed myth. It's part of the program, because when the program, this matrix program, um, keeps you in a state of barely surviving or just above the waterline, then you will never be able to free your mind long enough and free your thoughts long enough and free your vision, your capabilities of envisioning and imagining a future long enough that you can actually co-create something new for you, something better for yourself, for your family, and for your community, and for the global family as such. And so creating and attracting financial freedom for yourself should be something that's really important to you. And saying money doesn't matter to me is, for 99.9% of the people who ever said that, it's a lie and it's an excuse. And I get that. I get that because there were times in my life where I felt like nothing that I did worked out, and I couldn't create that financial freedom for myself or for my family even. And where I thought, man, this is just bullshit. It's all crap, but it didn't help me at all. The only thing that actually really began to help is when I allowed myself. Oh, Rebecca, thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it. When I actually allowed myself to realize that this is a program that's running in my mind, in my subconscious mind. My subconscious mind was programmed by people in my early childhood. They thought they were doing something good for me, but they really weren't. They were putting all these thoughts in my subconscious mind, the thoughts that say money's hard to get by. Also, sometimes people said money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees, and you need to work hard, you need to struggle, you need to make sacrifices. And so it was on me, for myself, and on us and all of us. Thank you so much, Willow. Thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. It was on us to actually re-examine those beliefs, heal, and forgive anyone who meant well but didn't really do well, in order for us to create new beliefs and new truths about abundance. This doesn't happen overnight, and some days and the universe, God, the creator, will test your new beliefs. That's just how it is. Everything is always being put to the test. When you change in your life, when you create something new, then tests show up so you can see, are you really there? Do you really believe what you're saying or telling yourself, or is it just on the surface? And so these things show up, and when you go through them and remain in that knowing that abundance is your birthright, that financial freedom is something that is accessible to you. And I don't even want to talk about the house so much, because the house then show up. But if you can remain in that knowing, and that requires, when you go into meditation, feel your way into a state of abundance. When you come out of a meditation, when you're in that deep state, journal and write down beautiful affirmations about abundance. Thank you so much, Ronnie. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all your contributions. And you journal and you affirm new beliefs about money. The thing is, we don't want long-term a society, that's just us, right? A society that is built around money, but a society that returns to the intrinsic knowing that we are abundant beings, and that we were given an abundant realm, a physical, natural realm, from which we can receive everything we need, which feeds us, which houses us, which clothes us, which gives us everything we need, without having to rely on this artificial structure of money. But we're not there yet, right? We're beginning to create this, beginning to imagine this, beginning to, and I'm not talking about some sort of socialist or communist system at all. To the contrary, it is a way of living that goes back to the knowing that you as the individual can take care of yourself and of your family, that you can have complete self-sufficiency, which every other animal or every other being on this earth has. It's just us. It's just us humans, the seemingly most evolved species that doesn't have that. We need to pay for everything. And right now, in our structure, this is still very much the case. And if you fight that in terms of, I'm just not going to participate, I'm going to sit here, I'm not going to even think about money or think about abundance, I'm just a big fuck you to everything, you're the one that suffers. Don't fight against money or fight against abundance. Simply give yourself permission to not fall into the circle of greed, to fall into the circle of taking advantage of others, or having to do something immoral or unethical in order to receive abundance. As a matter of fact, allow yourself to believe and to know that if you have been given a dream that's in your heart, if you've been given a purpose, if you've been given talents, if you've been given strengths, that these talents and strengths and the purpose also translate into abundance. Because when you give something to the whole, when you give value to someone else, when you can create a beautiful result or effect or help someone else with that, then isn't it natural that you too receive something and that you too receive that abundance in return? That's a very, very natural process. And so it is important to step into that field again, because what I see is an opportunity like never before, that people that have a deep understanding of what is happening and how the world works, and have on the other side also a deep desire to change and transform things, then the next step needs to be, what are the practical steps? How can we do that? How can we implement that? And the first step in all of this is we need to create independence for ourselves. Because when we're independent, when we have our own sources of everything that we need, when we are self sufficient, we cannot be controlled. We cannot be coerced. We cannot be blackmailed. We cannot be pushed in any direction, because we have that self sufficiency. So it should be the first and foremost goal of you and your family, and maybe even your community, to create that self-sufficiency, to be independent, to step back into this natural way of living that every other being lives in. Every other being is self-sufficient on this earth, and is part of the whole cycle, and has its place to live, has its sources of food, has all of that. only we have created a system that we would have a hard time explaining to any outside visitor. It comes from another planet or another solar system, whatever. And we'd show them around. And at the end of the day, they'd say, well, why are there people who are living in complete poverty? And why are there people who have everything and more? And then you say, well, because they don't have any money. Well, what is money? So we still live in that. But in order to transform this system, we need to free ourselves, free our minds, free our bodies, free our families from this constant cycle. And so, how do you create financial abundance for yourself? We get this question a lot, and a lot of times this question is connected to, oh my God, I can never get ahead. I'm poor. I don't have any money. Um, I'm living on a shoestring. The ways and number of ways that people describe and reaffirm their poverty or their lack is astonishing, but it is a program of this matrix. You need to break that program. You need to quit reaffirming your current circumstances by constantly repeating what you perceive to be the truth right now, even if you have zero money in your bank account or even if you're in debt. And I can, again, we ever only talk about things that we have full life experience on, right? We've experienced this, all of it. No money, debt,
All of it.
all of the lack, all of the troubles that are associated with that. So that's why we talk about this. Is not some theoretical thing, and actually we had a trust fund. Okay, so that's not how it works. Um, but you need to step out of that, and this is very challenging for people that were brought up in one of the established religious systems, because although the Bible gives plenty examples of that, the lived religion and how it's preached and taught usually does not give you that. When actually you have this power, to reframe your mind and reframe your beliefs, reframe your subconscious to bring yourself in a state of abundance. And it is so true what they say. I had to experience it for myself. The more you get into the state of abundance, the more abundance comes to you from all unexpected sources. This becomes a game. It's really funny. All of a sudden, boom, 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 it just keeps coming in. But you need to break the cycle, and you need to give yourself permission to be a complete weirdo in the eyes of society when you say, I am an abundant being. Abundance is my birthright. And even being rich is completely natural to me. Now, when you begin to do that while your bank account's still empty and your bills are overdue, you might want to keep this to yourself. You might not want to say this out loud and talk about this to your friends, because they're literally going to crap on your new thoughts and they're going to give you all the reasons why this is bullshit. Don't do that. Begin to reprogram your cells, your whole physical being, your hormonal states, your thoughts, your subconscious. And there are a million ways to do that. Even on our channel, you'll find a lot of ways to do that. But if you stay on this platform, YouTube, there's a gazillion videos that give you one aspect of this. And I'm not saying sit at home, write affirmations, and do nothing. That's never what we say. And this, frankly, has never worked for us. The whole I'm just going to sit here and affirm that I'm rich has never brought about the results, at least not in a long term and in a beautiful flowy way. Sometimes there were little things that come in or little surprises, but truly it was more about something else. It was more about going into deeper states of connection with the creator and appreciation and realizing what our gifts were. We all are called to do something. We all are called to do something. Each and every one of you is called to do something. Each and every one of you has a purpose and has talents and has strengths. But so often we say, you know what we say? We say, you know what? I'm gonna live my talent on the weekends. And from Monday to Friday, I'm gonna do this day job that's gonna put food on the table, that's gonna give me a little bit of free time to live my talents. And that's the human construct. That's the program. That's not how the creative big plan works. The creative big plan set from the get-go. Listen, Paula, or listen, Lee, or listen, Angela, or listen, Mike, or Michael, and all of you. Here's your gift. Here are your talents. Here's what you're really good at. Here is how you can contribute to society as a whole. Here is how you become the puzzle piece of this huge puzzle that all of life is. And what you need to do is live up to that. You need to live that. You need to express that. You need to contribute that. I'm not saying it's one talent for life, but what I'm saying is you have a set of strengths and talents, and you can develop them more, and you can improve them, all of that. But you got to live that, and you got to do it in a very natural way. And how to figure out what that is what comes easiest to you, and what are you really good at with the least amount of effort. That's a question you need to ask yourself. What am I really good at with the least amount of effort? I'm not saying no effort. I'm not saying you don't need to learn something about that or improve that. But what are you really good at with the least amount of effort? And then you need to tell your whole being here that this is what you came here for. And you need to keep telling your being that, because you need to reprogram it. And then listen to what you hear and what you receive. Because when you step back on your natural path, the creator will give you ideas or give you inspirations, will put this in front of you and say, hey, here's what you do next. Here's who you call next. Here's who you email. Here's where you go. Here's what you say. Here's all of that comes together. And then opportunities begin to show up and doors begin to open, and you need to walk through them. The point here is we could do a seminar on how to start a YouTube channel, how to start a coaching business, how to become a songwriter, how to do pottery, how to do art, how to sell refinished furniture. All of that we could do, and it would reach a small, tiny fraction of you if you're aligned with that, and you might be successful in that. But what we're interested in is show you the principles. Oh, Alan, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you to all of you. Thank you. What we want to show you and remind you of are the principles of how this works, because whether you are really, really a great communicator, a great artist or musician, a great bookkeeper, a great herbalist, or whatever it is that you're really, really good at, the principles are the same in every area. The principles remain the same. When you are in a state of abundance, because that's your natural state of being, you begin to attract this in your life. You begin to attract the people and the circumstances and the relationships and everything that it requires. And in the big picture, you become independent. Again, I understand what you're saying. Why does it need money? Why can't we just skip that step? And I'm with you. And we have tried, and there are communities who have tried, and so far, it just hasn't fully succeeded yet. It will succeed. But why fight this? Why allow this to become your rock in the road? Why allow this to hold you back from who you were meant to be? Why not treat this like saying, hey, you know what? This is the path right now. Why am I fighting this? Why am I not bringing my best self to this? And I'm going to be rewarded for that. And it's going to create a beautiful flow. And then you can create an independent, self-sufficient field for yourself. This is how this was meant to be. The beautiful idea that's being put out into the world through the Anastasia books, through the Ringing Cedar books. There's now hundreds of thousands and millions of people who are doing just that. They're creating freedom and independence for themselves so they can live out that dream, and they can show more people how to do it, until we have really shifted the whole picture to where the new babies that are being born and the new children that are coming up, they won't have to pay money for a space to live anymore. They might not have to go into a store and buy sub-quality food that's not even food. They will actually live in a space of love, in a living, loving space of natural love that gives them everything they need. I see this even already in the generation maybe of my grand or great grandchildren, that this is a possibility. So let's take the steps now. Never sacrifice your morals, your principles, your ethics in order to create money. Never, ever. when in the past we said, okay, I'm not fully aligned with this. Sky is a little shady, but it looks good. We're going to do this. It never worked out. It's only when we decided, no, we're not going to make any compromises anymore. We're not going to deal with anyone who we're not 100% aligned with. It's only when we gotten to that 100% point that things began to work out for us, which is logical in the big scheme of things, which is natural in the divine realm, but it's very weird in the human realm, because humans say, hey, I hate that company. I hate my boss. I hate what they do, but hey, I'm just going to show up because I get a paycheck. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why don't you trust that there's something that you're good at, that you love, that you're excited about, that you love showing up for, and that it pays you really, really, really well? Really well. A lot of money. Why not? Why not? What's so wrong with millions? Are you scared? You don't trust yourself? That you can remain ethical and you can remain on your path, even though you're having 6, 7, 8 zeros on your bank account? Well, why? It's just an idea. Just an idea. We know very, very beautiful, wonderful, good-hearted people that have billions. They're not bad because they have billions. They do wonderful things with that. So shift, refocus, and know that I don't care what your background is, what your religion is, what your country is, what your family is, what your parents did, and how your life panned out until this point. I'm telling you, each and every one of you, and I'm saying this with the full authority of my life experience, that each and every one of you can be and live an abundant life, contribute positively to the whole, create self-sufficiency and independence for yourself and your family, and therefore live in true freedom, and in turn create a future that is beyond description, because free people have free thoughts, have free visions, and free ideas. And there's no limitation to how good it can get when your mind is free, when you have time, when you can truly become this most natural, most beautiful version of yourself. This is what freedom really means. And this triggers a lot of people, because if it hasn't worked out till now, it's so easy to fall back on those old money beliefs. Money's hard to get by. Rich people are greedy. Rich people are bad. Money's the root of all evil. It's really not money. It's the love of money, but okay. So all of these things, people fall back on those because they're kind of the safety net. Those are accepted norms. Well, step out of the accepted norms. Step out of the matrix. Realize that you're an abundant being by nature, and fulfill that position. Stop playing small. You're not a small being. Stop putting yourself down, or saying that you're insignificant. No, your life matters. You matter. Yeah, it has significance, and it is with a certain level of selfishness that I say this, and I'll admit it. I'll own it. I want you to live up to your purpose, to live up to your destiny and your greatest potential. Because I know that me, my family, my children, my grandchildren, and the generations to come are going to benefit from that. What's so wrong with that? What is so wrong with that? I want to close this with a story. I've told this story before, but it's a beautiful story. Inspires me greatly. I was a judge in Atlanta, I think, Atlanta, Georgia. And this happened in a courtroom, and the judge was filmed secretly, so she didn't know she was being filmed. And basically, there were, I believe, 10 or 15 kids, somewhere around the 15, 16, 14, 17 age group, right? So teens, mid-teens. And they were all on the wrong path. They had started committing smaller crimes, and maybe even doing drugs and whatnot. And the judge looked at them and said this to them. The judge said, you think, each and every one of you who have, gotten on the wrong path, you believe that this only affects you. That if you commit a crime, you go to jail, that's your life. And if it's your life, that's you fuck up, that's okay, because it's your life. And what does it matter? It's your decision. What you don't realize, she said to the kids, is that this is why this world is in the state it is in right now. Because people have forgotten that every single soul that comes here with a purpose, comes here to be a part of this whole beautiful puzzle. And when they don't fulfill their purpose and live up to their purpose, the whole suffers. That's when war is created. That's when conflict is created. That's when poverty is created. That's when abuse is created. Violence is created. All of those things. It is because people don't live up to their purpose and don't fulfill their role in this great, beautiful plan. And I'll tell you, it's very unusual for 15 teenagers to just be quiet, and you could see their thoughtful faces. Something about what she said to them hit them hard, and it hit them in the core. And they had probably never heard this before. They're worthy beings, like you are, like I am. We're all worthy beings, worthy of a beautiful, wonderful life, and worthy of fulfilling our purpose, why we came here. And so this is highly important. So I am saying this with a certain loving amount of selfishness, that I believe that if your life is lived with purpose, that my life will be enhanced, and I will benefit from that too. But more importantly, the generations to come will. The children, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, all the generations to come. So this is our inspiration. It's our inspiration to remind you of that, encourage you, for you to live your purpose and to recreate that natural freedom that has always been yours, so we can co-create this beautiful future that's always been ours. And that's what drives us every day. Inspired Tribe. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for your contributions in thought, in your hearts, for sending those beautiful contributions here through the live chat. We really appreciate that. For those of you who want to, say, hey, I love that hoodie, Lion's Not Sheep, or all the other things, or the Inspired Tribe, or if you feel inspired to check out our store, there's 15% off all the merch until January 27th. The link is up in the live chat, and of course there's a link in the description as well. Just go check it out if you feel inspired. Thank you for your contributions, for shopping in our merch store, and more importantly, thank you for co-creating together something that we believe is so beautiful and so worthwhile, and it's our destiny, all of our destiny. So we'll be here again Thursday, 2 p.m. Central, right here on the Inspired channel. And until then, be blessed, be abundant, and be inspired. We love you all.